So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are all doing well. I've been called to do a Twin Flame Collective reading here, so this definitely is not for everyone, but I do know that a lot of you guys specifically come here for your Twin Flame journey, and it does pull through my readings quite frequently, although I was considering opening up a separate channel, because it sort of bleeds into everything, and it's annoying. Especially, I'm also on the Twin Flame journey, and the last thing sometimes I even want to even deal with is Twin Flame. Okay, but obviously that's an aversion, and I do feel as though this channeling comes through as a result of me being on this journey, very specific, tapped into a collective here. Okay, so this channel is going to be straight through a Twin Flame collective. I don't know whether I'll be tapped into the Divine Feminine, the Divine Masculine, a blend of energy, if it's one specific groupings of Twin Flames. Okay, I don't believe in labels so much at all. Okay, so when I say twin flame, it is very loose, but we use words for everything. We call an apple an apple. So when people get triggered when they're like, I'm not on a twin flame is this and that, it's like, well, do you use words? Do you use apple? Do you use bird? Do you use these words? Words are sort of pointers towards the type of whatever that is that we're talking about. Twin flame is a type of soul connection. Okay, a type of journey. It's all completely different for every single person. Some people might not even realize they're on a twin flame journey, okay? And whatever, call it whatever you will. It doesn't really need a name so much as it is something very profound here and some sort of an experience that's going on here, okay, collectively. And this is what I'll be channeling from. So we'll be looking at the energy for the Twin Flame Collective and see what comes through. These are the decks I'll be using, and there is a channel that's coming through already. Okay, for the Twin Flames, the Spirit is really talking about how all the planets right now, okay, lots of transits, there's planets going into retrograde, there's an eclipse happening, there's things we haven't seen in over 2 centuries, okay, in regards to planets and shifts. And so there is this collective lessons of sorts, specifically when it comes to our own self-worth and our own ability to be butted up against challenges, to know when to choose ourselves. Okay, and when I say choose self, this means without having to force and settle and drain ourselves in situations to make situations different than how they are. So this is all about surrender, acceptance, and understanding your own self-worth through choosing accountability. And accountability would be knowing what's in our power. Okay, and so these lessons are put in front of us so that we understand what's within our power. And so a lot of these situations are designed to really be stuck, like to really not produce. And I know we don't like to hear this because if you're romantic at heart, you obviously want to believe in a happy ending. This doesn't mean there won't be happy endings. Okay, in fact, there is happy endings. Happy ending is you being completely overcome by what you're needing to learn and being able to attain and maintain a happy energy after you go through lessons, trials, and tribulations that are very challenging, stuck, and difficult. If you get to an energy of inner peace, you have already won. Okay, so Spirit wants you to know this. Now, the only way for there to be shift and change is for us to be reflected back something that is impossible for a reason, okay? The impossibility is a stubborn energy that we might be dealing with, a twin flame or a situation that cannot change. That's fine. Okay, there's a need to surrender and accept what is in order for there to be shifts and changes. And that is what many people are sort of going through, is realizing that they do have power to make decisions and they are empowered to choose to let go and to choose themselves when it comes to what's going to support them and give them inner peace without having to explain There's no need for any explanation, justification, reasoning at all. There's just what gives me inner peace, and I must move in that direction, and that's where I'm moving towards. Okay, so let's take a look at the messages. These are the decks. Like I said, I will include a link here to the tarot flip through for those of you guys interested in any of these decks. And I will pause this video so that I can start to shuffle these cards. All right, I'll be right back. All right, gorgeous angels, let us start with the tarot, shall we? Also, I wanted to go on a rant, and I didn't, but I think I might still, because I'm allowed. I don't understand why tarot readers here on YouTube must deface or sticker up our tarot cards because of the YouTube overlords that do not like the artwork on these tarot, because we get demonetized. It's absolutely annoying. And I've heard other tarot readers get absolutely frustrated with the fact that they record 4-hour videos and then they get demonetized. Now, I'm a little bit of a rebel, and I don't really necessarily am too concerned with the monetization piece so much as, you know, it balances out. And obviously, I'm not in this for completely investing my whole time, energy, and effort and not getting anything from this, but there is healing and rewards. But at the same time, I feel like our readers shouldn't have to go do anything with their cards, especially when there's advertisements specifically on my videos with teeny tiny pants, cleavages, and all sorts of things that are really not good, at least in my energy field of sexualization, if I'm even allowed to say this. But yet cardboard can't be shown. It's like, I don't want to see any of this stuff, or at least I want a choice to be able to, whether I see it or not. Anyway, it's really frustrating and I'm irritated. Okay, so let's get into this collective twin flame reading. Spirit, thank you so much. I'd like to thank your spirit team, spirit guides, divine masculine energy, divine feminine energy, the collective, twin flame collective that I'm tapped into. All my viewers, subscribers, everyone who is tapped into this reading, you're here for a reason. I love you guys very much. And let's see what comes through. So we have the Ace of Wands. All right, under the Ace of Wands, we have the Moon. Cancer energy coming through. So Cancer is family, it is love, it's emotions, it's the intuition, it's our deep subconscious here. Now it is in reverse. We have the Hierophant, Taurus energy, the Fool, Aquarius, the World. Good thing I stickered up there. Major Arcana. All major arcana except for this Ace of Wands. The Queen of Cups in reverse. So you have the divine feminine, I feel, showing up here energetically, but also it's representing emotions in connection. Here's the Strength, Leo energy, and here's the Ace of Pentacles, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Okay, give me a minute here to tap into this messaging. And then the Well, which is special in this deck here. 22. I'm getting heavy subconscious energies and emotions pulling through. Okay, let's see. Okay, beautiful, beautiful angels. I feel like this is a message of hope, most likely for the runner or the chaser. I don't even know. I don't know who's the runner, who's the chaser. All I know is that there is an energy here, okay, of a new beginning, based on an acceptance. And this acceptance is where to invest your emotions, how to manage your emotions. And so this could resonate for both masculine and feminine for sure. Okay, because as we know, these connections are mirrored. And so how I'm seeing this is the divine feminine, who might be the one who is over giving and over emotional, wanting some form of commitment, some form of structure and stability, and has been willing to overinvest, and get emotionally wrapped up in this. This is all coming to an end. Okay, but this means a successful conclusion, meaning she's learned successfully how to regulate her emotions, you know, and unfortunately, because I am feeling this, maybe she's been disappointed or let down, or has seen enough for her to know, that her love isn't reciprocated in the situation with this divine masculine, which is unfortunate, of course. But I feel like because it's represented by the world here, I feel like there's more victory and success in this sort of graduation than disappointment and like a loss. And I feel like when the divine feminine, and I'm using words as feminine, doesn't have to be a female energy so much as it is, or female gender so much as it is energy, okay? I feel like this is really Spirit talking about the weight of the energy being more towards her feeling accomplished. It's like I've accomplished in understanding my own emotions, maybe even regulating them or knowing how to maintain my emotions in a way here that's healthy and balanced to maintain inner peace. And that I wouldn't trade for anything. That's a win and that's a success here. And so there is a successful conclusion of some sort of lesson that I feel might have taken a lot of courage for her to trust herself in doing what she would need to do in order to choose herself, which is what? A new beginning here. And I do feel like if she hasn't had a new beginning yet in the 3D world offered to her or experienced sort of a door opening, she's now finally feeling like the time is right. And she's getting inspired to move forward, to have a new beginning. I feel like all of this emotional swinging, okay, has been very heavy to carry. But I feel like she's on the tail end of seeing all of this sort of repressed emotion that might have been popping up as emotions she couldn't maintain or control in some way, and a lot of trauma from the subconscious. And so there's these wild emotions that were being pulled through here from the depths of maybe a place that was never been seen by her in other connections. So maybe in other connections or prior to the twin flame experience here, it's like she might have known herself, or she might have felt confident in her love and her ability to regulate her emotions. I'm also getting a lot of you guys might look like this. Wow, she's very beautiful. So this is the second time this has come up in my reading that there might be matching of a look here, but it's like this came out of nowhere. I feel, well, it's somewhere. It's the deep well. It's the deep subconscious. It had to come up. And she was faced with stepping into her greatest power of trusting herself to navigate these emotions, even though maybe at first she was really drawn by what she's feeling and taking action on that. And it kept resulting here in whatever it resulted in, disappointments, because I do feel she was wanting some sort of structure and some sort of order, some sort of commitment. And this would require her to sort of leave the baggage, because there was a lot of deep subconscious stuff here that she might have been carrying that she wasn't even realizing. And so there's a lot here about a new beginning and being freed of baggage. And so I feel like this world card is talking about her freedom, whatever was weighing her down, whatever would cause this divine feminine to feel like her emotions were against her, or she had no control over emotions, or she didn't have the strength or the courage to go against how she was feeling, to take action in a direction that maybe she wasn't sure would support her. I feel like this is really shifting for her, and she might have had a lot of fear around like seeing if this would work for her, and it's like, I don't know what's on the other side of this, and I just know like what I feel in my heart, but I keep experiencing either disappointment here or not reflected back to me the same level of love that I'm feeling. Yeah, okay. So lots of divine feminine. I'm not necessarily feeling divine masculine, although it was coming through at the beginning. So let me see if it comes back here. Yeah, so there is divine masculine energy here. I feel like the divine masculine almost seemed like he was like it seems stuck here. And I know that this pentacle, we can look at it as something really solid and off, like an offer in the 3D. But I'm seeing these as literally like seeds of nothing, really. I mean, it could turn into a whole lot, but I feel like there was a reset and a staying at this level of ace, which never amounted to growth. And so it's almost like, those rats that they have in laboratories, and like they reward them and they give them little rewards, and then they might go long periods of time, not getting rewards, and then the rats expect the reward, so they keep doing the same sort of thing. It's almost like the divine masculine here has this, like, keeping it sort of stuck here would allow the divine feminine to emotionally invest in this divine masculine, who is clearly held back, who is understanding that there was a need to provide a level of structure or stability or commitment, because this divine feminine was wanting this, or requiring this, or asking for this, or this was the biggest sort of shadow here in the connection, was his inability to commit and take a chance on committing and risking himself open to a commitment, because he was blocked in love, and maybe he didn't know how to connect to his emotions. And so there is this coming to the surface from the depths here that I feel has been in the dark for some time, that is now being connected to by this divine masculine. And so again, this world is representing a successful closure. And so whatever was supposed to be learnt by these twin flames, I feel is being closed out right now. This is in my current position here. And of course this journey isn't over per se, but the world does talk about a closure. But I feel like these cards are moving. Weird. But what I am feeling here is like closure on both sides. For the divine feminine, it was an over giving and needing to know self-worth and managing of her own emotions, having the courage to trust herself and her emotions, and when to act on emotion and when to sort of understand what they meant. And it could have been butting up against her intuition, because the emotions are very loud and creating all sorts of fear stories and driving all sorts of action for her. And for the divine masculine, there was a block to being able to connect to his emotions. And so either way, there was a need to connect to unconditional love, which to me, the Queen of Cups always represents unconditional love. Same with the Empress. And so the divine feminine wasn't able to give unconditional love, even though she might have connected to it. But what she was connecting to was a deep-seated subconscious fear that was needing to get looked at, which might have been to be abandoned, or not to have structure, or not to have a level of safety or commitment, that I do feel it was something that she experienced as like a loss, or a need to have this sort of reflected back to her for her to understand her own self-worth. And at the same time, the divine masculine had reflected back to him this beautiful energy of this Empress, or this Queen of Cups, giving love, but was incapable of understanding what unconditional love looked like, because he was incapable of even connecting to a part of himself to even express his own emotions here without getting into his fear. So he'd keep it sort of at this seed level. So I do feel like this twin flame connection I'm tapped into is at seed level here. And it's either closing out this whole lesson in order to have a new beginning. And now we're going to see, is this going to grow, or is this stunted here? I think we don't know. But there is a new beginning after this. And is this a new beginning, for each of these individuals, or is this a new beginning together? The Queen of Swords. Yeah, like the divine feminine is now graduated to a Queen of Swords. Okay. The Queen of Swords always talks about when we have experience in our world that gives us true wisdom of the heart, but also balanced with the mind, intelligence. And so there is a need for compassion, but there is a greater wisdom to know when we are overextending ourselves, and even Jesus talks about this, and I wish I had the passage, but there is this understanding when we are up against something where we have to stand our ground about truth, because truth is unconditional love. And sometimes the truth is abandoning a situation that isn't in line with authenticity and truth, or in line with something that is legitimate because it's going against what we know. It doesn't feel right. And so I feel like she had a knowing or an understanding of what would feel right to her. And so she had to be reminded and choose her truth, despite a very painful experience here. So let's take a look. The spirits, what's going on in the Twin Flame Collective right now that I'm tapped into here? We have shift or be shifted, spiritual awakening. Wow. And we have path of least resistance, choose ease and grace. So remember at the beginning of this reading, I was talking about choosing her peace above all else. And so I feel like she's choosing her peace. She's no longer wanting the resistance, because I do feel there was a resistance from the divine masculine in allowing things to flow, which kept her sort of stuck on Groundhog's Day, in the seed state. It's like, I choose ease and grace. What's more easeful and graceful is for me to move in truth and have flow. So I think she's choosing movement. She's choosing peace. She's choosing growth. And so what this is causing for the divine masculine is shift or be shifted. Because the divine feminine, is moving, and the divine masculine must choose whether he wants to shift and leap forward, or he'll be gradually sort of thrusted into whatever the universe pushes him into, because either which way, we could either choose the shift or the shift happens sort of as a result, because nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. And one thing is certain, and that is change. That's the only constant here. So either which way, this divine masculine is being shifted. And I don't know if this is becoming into his awareness, but there is something about a decision again, because I do feel that the decision is sitting here with the divine masculine. And I feel like this divine empress, like this is the racetrack. She's reached some sort of, goalpost, she's gone through. So we have false twin flame, intense change. So maybe this is an experience here for a lot of you guys with this person, where it's like, if this person isn't capable of uniting or connecting or choosing something aligned with greater truth, is spirit then reflecting back to you that there is a possibility of there being a new beginning with someone that is aligned, and that this experience was something that was like like even with this race, like it was like a pre-experience. Let's see. Spirit, what is with this false twin flame? What's with this false twin flame? See the phoenix rising too, the devil in reverse, Capricorn energy. Oops, toddies. I was talking about the nudity. Capricorn energy, another one. Jeez. So I feel like a lot of you guys, almost every single one of you guys, is dealing with a twin flame that was stuck in devil, okay? Devil represents many different things that aren't good for us. It could be mindsets, it could be addictions, it could be relationships, ways of being that we believe are the reason we cannot move or can't do this or that, or keep us stuck. This divine masculine that you're dealing with, whoever's tapped in here, is having to break free from this devil. Otherwise, I do feel like there is this energy that Spirit's talking about, like I don't know, like intervening somehow here with this false twin flame. Like this person then isn't your person. This person isn't your person if this person isn't capable of like battling with this devil. And I know we don't like to hear a person isn't our person, but I mean, maybe we were under some illusion, you know, that this is my person or that my person is, I don't know. Well, let's see, Spirit, what am I missing here? This is a pretty crazy, intense change. Okay, now Spirit's coming through. Oh, this is taking twists and turns that I never expected. Spirit's coming through with this person who you're dealing with too. For a lot of you guys, it's like this intense change is completely changing this person. Like this person who you were dealing with in the past, it almost seems like they were hijacked. Like it wasn't them. Like they were under the spell of some sort of devil. And I know that sounds really dramatic here, but let me see, Spirit, what are you talking about? I dropped the card. It fell sideways. I knew this was going to be pretty intense, but I wasn't expecting to deliver such crazy messages. Judgment in reverse. So Phoenix Rising, that's what this Judgment card is about. But the Judgment is also about having like a realization and an awakening here to a truth. There's something pending right now. And I just heard spiritual court. I think there's still an intervention that Spirit could come in here, because I think that this person that you're dealing with was supposed to choose already, you know? I don't think they have. And I feel like Spirit's about to intervene here, because it's like, okay, this is like, I don't know, like the final stretch here. So either we're on board or we're not on board, and we sort of get left behind. Like left behind as into our own devices, you know? Which, by the way, is this, you're going to be shifted anyway. There's a need for release and change. And we're seeing divine timing here. We're seeing cycles. And then we're seeing this like light coming from the clouds, which is enlightenment and like seeing the truth. This Phoenix energy, because I do feel this person has been guided to get on the ship, so to speak. But they've been prolonging. Okay, so what about it? 3 of Cups. So that could be for third-party connections. This could be for those of you guys who are dealing with someone who has addictions to drinking. This could be for some of you guys who don't know how to connect deep, and they keep you in friend zone or like a 3 cup because they can't get to a 2 cup. This could also be them wanting to come forward with a reconciliation. Okay, so I feel like we're getting all these messages here, and all of them could definitely apply to your situation. You know your twin, and so this is like, yeah, for sure. If a twin cannot connect his emotions, he's keeping things 3 cups. He's incapable, according to him. Okay, this is his devil belief. And I am seeing, like I said, the drinking, but the drinking just symbolizes addictions. You know, partying lifestyle, something like this. Okay, or even like this third party, so third energy. I like to date around, or I like to keep things open. I am stuck with a third party. Like this sort of thing, which always comes through my readings, was supposed to be resolved or understood. Yeah, 5 swords. Okay, now I'm being kicked back to my message at the beginning of the reading. If you didn't listen, this is the energy. 5 swords talks about difficulty. Okay, difficulty where we cannot change the outcome of a 5 sword when we're faced with a challenge like this. And we have to kick it back to ourselves and say, okay, what is within my power? What am I going to do now that I'm dealing with somebody who's in this devil, who's in a third party, or is closed off, or blah, 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 or doesn't want to move, doesn't want to commit, whatever they were doing. It's like we have a decision to make. And so I feel like on this journey, there was trying to work with the 5 sword, which there was no win, by the way. And it was like this for a reason. You cannot change the 5 sword. The only thing you could do is learn a lesson and choose the path of least resistance, which would find you peace, and understand this lesson and getting there and how that looks like. But I do feel we were confronted with this 5 sword energy and are still sort of, yeah, like this person still hasn't clearly decided or chosen. So they're sitting in this 5 sword. Okay, but what about this false twin flame? I'm still not understanding. The Lovers in reverse. Yeah, they were supposed to, again, I just heard spiritual court. It's like this person was supposed to go down a destined path. Now, we don't like to think, oh, destiny is not written, that we have this free will. And we do have free will to make decisions and choices. I feel like the time has come and the time has passed, and that this person had the opportunity to choose love, to get down this path. And I feel this person sabotaged too long or too many times, or still sitting there with the sabotage. By the way, I'm still getting this 5 very strong, okay, which is like conflict. It's a need for this person to change. And this person didn't choose you, didn't choose love. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, so what's with the false twin flame, though, Spirit? I'm not understanding. What do we need to know about it in the spiritual court? Something being understood or shown to this person? Like, I don't understand. And this person might have many people or different ideas in their mind about what they're supposed to do here. Queen of Cups now in the upright. Spirit is saying, you learned your thing. There's another titty titty bang bang. You learned your Queen of Cups lesson. She's in the upright now. This is this world energy. Okay, but has the Divine Masculine then learned his lesson? Because at the beginning here, we were seeing the world was relevant for both. And so he's connecting to some part of his emotions that I think have been shown to him or reflected by this Divine Feminine, because she's been guiding. So let's see, Spirit, can we dive into the Divine Masculine some more? Why is this false twin flame here? And what do we need to know? The Wheel of Fortune. Spirit's funny. Spirit's like, you need to know on a need to know basis. The universe has control, that the universe is intervening. Just exactly what I said. The universe is intervening now with this person. And I do feel, oh my goodness, yeah, now it's coming through. Oh my goodness. Spirit's funny. Oh gosh. Okay. So, when we're stubborn as fuck, Spirit creates all sorts of towers and all sorts of situations that make things very, very, very uncomfortable. The Spirit is creating a 5-sword situation with your person until they can't no more, so they can move. But it is their choice whether they want to move. It doesn't mean they have to choose you. Okay, although obviously you'd be their choice. If they didn't have this devilly thing that they have, you'd be their number one choice. So where would they move? Obviously, in a process of elimination, they'd want to move towards you. Now, I don't know how far away you've ran or that you're already sort of doing you. I think the Divine Feminine's okay, or is going to be okay here, because she, is closing out a major cycle. But this Divine Masculine, yeah, and she's at peace, and she chose a path that's not as heavy to carry. And he chose to stay in the heavy path because he was trying to, I don't know, like strong arm the devil in some way. Oh my gosh, now I'm getting lots. Okay, so first of all, let me finish what I was saying. And so this divine is intervening in ways that we can't fathom, because this is the universe using all sorts of people, places, things to get this person to have to do something, because this person was very, 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 very stuck, as we know. Okay, stuck with their mindset and the thing that was really their biggest fear, that was from their deepest subconscious here. And so it's very difficult for this person, and it's becoming harder and harder and harder for this person. And look at the checkered flag. Oh my goodness, now I'm getting another download. Look at it. Like, Spirit. Okay, so Spirit is showing the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine are mirroring each other's energy. She's coming to the finish line, okay? She was given this test. It was a real test. It was a real sort of test, because at the end of it, it wasn't like, okay, it was pretend and now you're doing the real thing. Spirit is saying it was real, she went through it, she learned something, and she graduated, and she's now kind of at peace, okay? Or she's coming into peace, or she's learned what she needed to learn, even though it does come with sadness, but it comes with a lot of victory, like I mentioned, but it was successful. Now this is mirrored, but his mirror is like this Five of Swords, which is this false twin flame energy that got like clarified by this devil energy. Let me, oh my goodness, I'm going to be a rebel. I'll just do this, and hopefully they don't see that one over there. Because this divine masculine, the collective that I'm tapped into, I feel might have certainly have been hijacked by some energy here. And I don't know what this hijacking is, but we're talking about spiritual court, okay? Under an understanding here that has taken over this person's ability to, like, there's no way that they could have chose. Like, the only thing that they were going through, their test was completely different. Their test was completely different. They were to get through to the other side of what? The other side of the challenge, which, by the way, there was a no-win situation here between you and this twin up until now. I'm not saying ever, okay? So don't get your panties in a bunch. Up until this point, because his lesson, which, by the way, he succeeded as well, or is succeeding, or in the middle of learning and closing out, is dealing with the challenge that's being put in front of him by the universe in regards to what is false. Because there is some sort of hijacking of energy, and it's like a battle with the devil, and some shadowy part here that has him hostage. So I don't get too deep into, like, I know I talk a lot about the twin flames, but I don't go too woo-woo into, like, the real deep meanings of twin flames, but I'm getting a lot of that energy, and I wish I could articulate some of this stuff, but I'm feeling there is a depth here of old, and I can't stress enough, old soul from this well, okay, that goes back many centuries. And there is this hijacking of energy. Oopsie. I'm going to get demonetized. Hijacking of energy. And this was something collectively that the divine masculine was having to overcome successfully. And this was his lesson. And it was never about, like, I mean, obviously the divine feminine was here to sort of guide and to help in some sort of way, but there was never a way for these two to be able to, it wasn't about him sort of committing as much as it was for him to overcome some sort of false thing that's been put upon him that was keeping him in addiction or keeping him very fixed and stuck. Oh my goodness, you guys. I had no idea. At least in this collective that I'm reading. You guys might know this. Oh, let me see now. Okay, so, wow. Let's see. Can we know more about this false twin flame and this journey then that the divine masculine's in? So now we can have way more compassion. It's even wearing red here, you guys. Getting very devilly. Very much that challenging energy, this false twin flame energy. There was a need for there to be a massive transmutation and seeing through the falsity here of something that I feel was sort of, I don't know, like shackled to him, some form of identity that wasn't his own, that was like dictating his actions, his addictions, his, and look at all those people too. It's like they're trapped here underneath this like devilly figure. Oh my goodness. This is really loneliness. 68. Entrepreneurial project, collaborative project, interdependency, physical challenge, social involvement, family responsibilities. Type 5, the observer thinking center between interior and exterior. This is this Hierophant energy as well with the 5. So we have some Taurus and some Sagittarius energy. Loneliness. I feel this person, yeah, like there was no help. There was no way this person could get help. Even if this person wanted to let you in, it's like this person had to do this test alone. And I do feel like it's like, yeah, collaborative project, which I do feel if this person wanted to work with you, there would have to be a level of cooperation, collaboration, allowing themselves to be able to work with others. But this is the thing that was not allowed according to this lesson or this thing that's been dished upon this divine masculine. And obviously, I mean, he'd feel super lonely about this, but does he know that he's under this false twin flame energy? Like, what is this, Spirit? Conscious awakening, 22, divinely guided relationships, idolization, comparison and jealousy, existential anxiety, marginalization, excessive nostalgia, feeling of emptiness, emotional complexity. Type 4, the individualist emotional center between lack and abundance. 4 is the emperor energy. Also Scorpio, which is death, and this rising of the phoenix. Oh my goodness. So this is all about feeling unworthy. This is about the inability to, again, this reverse Queen of Cups, emotional complexity, feeling not able to connect to one's own emotions in a way or understand them in a way to honor them, and then feeling very empty and very lonely. But almost like being forced into that. Like, is this even a choice at this point in time, Spirit? I'm saying it's not really a choice here. Vulnerability, sensitivity versus power, compassion, justice, gentleness, emotions, depth, anger management. Type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. 8 is all about ego, was about movement and change. So we're seeing all the things what I was mentioning about, you know, an inability to get deep, an inability to be vulnerable, to manage your anger potentially, where we're sort of incapable of trusting other people and their intentions towards us, showing compassion to ourselves, feeling some Aquarius energy as well as Leo. So, Spirit, what else about this divine masculine we're needing to know? Spiritual ecstasy, altered state of awareness, spontaneous revelation. That's this rising phoenix and this judgment, sideways. Bliss, transcendence, and spiritual connection, out-of-body experience. And number 88, master number, a higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. 7, okay, that's chariot energy, which is about success and shadow integration. It's also tower energy, which is the deconstruction of the false self or the Hierophant. Deconstruction of some sort of structure. It's also about faith, wisdom, reflection, understanding. It's about spiritual growth. So what else about this divine masculine? Managing fear, listening to your intuition, deciding alone. Again, something about being alone. Daring, autonomy. Okay, that's their own independence and freedom. Disengaging and facing your fears. 6 is devil energy again. So we got some Capricorn, and then lovers, which we had showing up here. I forget where it was in the tarot. Lovers. Choice. I don't see it, but it did come out. So, wow. Okay, this is their lesson, their energy, but I don't understand why alone. And okay, let's go a different angle here. Let's see. Spirits, where is this divine masculine at? Where is this divine masculine at? Is he a false twin flame? Well, what is going on here? Where's he at in this journey? Because we saw the world and it was getting him concluding this thing, and there's being a decision being made where the universe is sort of intervening. And Mars and Chiron. Look at Mars is divine masculine energy, and Chiron is the wounded healer, healing the wounded divine masculine. Yeah, 4, Emperor energy, and death, which is Scorpio, which is what? This whole thing of releasing, death, like releasing what no longer serves, transforming, being healed, healing these wounds. Okay, where is he at then with this? Mercury and Pluto. Wow, so if there was any shadow in regards to his ability to communicate authentically, express himself, and even his own thoughts about himself from the shadow here. This is what's being healed. 28, or the number 10, which is the end again, end of cycle. Venus, Jupiter, 31, which is another 4. So 4 is again stability, structure, emperor energy, planning, foundations. So Venus, planet of love. Jupiter is the planet of abundance, fame and fortune. But I'm also getting some ego from this Venus, Jupiter. And so there was this like false self that was hijacked. I'm getting from this Venus, Jupiter. There was an identity that this divine masculine was led to believe. And I don't know how far back, but I feel is old, integrated into a belief here of a falsity of who he's not, that he has to see through. This is massive, you guys. And so his own understanding of his image of who he thinks he is here, which isn't him, by the way, it's like this devil in disguise thing, that's the false self, is giving him this sort of understanding and belief, which is counterproductive to what he's needing to see and understand about himself, because it doesn't require ego. It would require him confronting, this devilly energy so that he could face his shadows and heal whatever he needs healing and come into his divine masculine energy. Is he seeing this? Is he understanding this? Spiritual ecstasy, my goodness. What is this? Moon and Venus. So he's lost in illusion, and the illusion is in the self-identity with this Venus, because I'm really getting from this Venus energy is like self-appearance, a body energy, matrix energy, identity, or approach to life. I'm really getting first house energy from this, even though, Mars is first house. Wow. Okay, I'm going to pull one more. What do we need to know then about this? Because he's still sort of he's believing himself to be something he's not with this false twin flame. It's really getting in the way of his journey, okay? But there is something that's wrapping up here, or at least that he's starting to see or has a decision to make, and his time, I feel, is up. Sun and Mercury, to speak the truth. And number 2, okay. Spirit's now talking about there is a decision. This decision is pending right now. It's sideways. I must have just tapped in at this very weird time here. The universe is involved here. There's faith involved. We saw the Lovers, okay? And this person is definitely has had time to choose. And they're sitting here with a major decision of a revelation to see the truth and to speak the truth clearly, openly, honestly about seeing through what is not real. And I don't necessarily know that all of these divine masculines have seen the truth, because they're in the process of this revelation or discovery or seeing what is real, what really makes them happy, what's truly emotionally connecting to them, their truth, speaking, walking, talking their truth, which isn't pulled by this illusion or this false twin flame thing, which could only be triggered or connected to or understood by an experience with the divine feminine / the universe, because the universe put the divine feminine in front of him to see something here, to guide him to see the truth with the sun. Again, divine masculine with the sun. And so there's some sort of spiritual court. So I feel like we need to, this is all over the place, and I do apologize, but I need to see what's going on with the spiritual court then. Like, what is it that the universe is getting involved with here? Unconditional love, you guys. Healthy love. Healthy love. This person doesn't know healthy love. 108 and 9. Love without expectations. Love for no reason. Absolute love. Pure love. Full acceptance. Love without reserve. Type 9, the peacemaker. Instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself. And we have the solar plexus, which it ties back to this ego energy, because I do feel like there is a need for this person to resolve the ego, or at least see through The sun also is ego. There's a heavy, heavy, heavy identity here of this persona with this false twin flame, that this person is under the guise and believe that they are. They have to see through this illusion in order for them to connect. And the only way, the answer here is this unconditional love that they feel for you, and certainly that they're needing to feel for themselves, and that they've been shown by you in order for them to see some sort of great truth. Okay, so they're in the process of this. I don't know that we are going to see outcomes so much, but I can ask, first of all, before we see outcome and all that, I feel like we're missing something. So I feel like let's tap into this divine feminine, okay? What's going on with the divine feminine? Even though I do feel like we pretty much wrapped her up here, but the divine feminine, well, like, what's going on with her energy then? Like, clearly she isn't just a pawn here because she was needing to learn certain things. But I feel like she had a really big role in this divine masculine peeling back this mask. But what's going on with this divine feminine? Then I do feel there's another one. Okay, wow. Let's see. Divine feminine energy. Deviance. Oh my goodness. Rules and compliance, delinquency, marginality, offense, transgression, outside the norm. Outside the norm. This person was under one assumption of who they are and what they were supposed to do, and they bought whatever Kool-Aid this was of who and where and why, and it was false, and they were going down another path. And this divine feminine was put in front of this divine masculine. And I do feel initially, I mean, she was learning about unconditional love, over giving, but I feel like her love, it was something here that it was pure. It was based on unconditional love, and it was supposed to be shown as unconditional love. But he saw her as this going against this transgression, this going against the norm, against the thing. So if he was to choose her, he would be out of line, which is actually inaccurate, but that is the illusion of the devil. Do not choose this divine feminine. You'd be a deviant here. And look, we have devil and lovers with the number 6. And so it's a choice. Do I choose the devil's word, or do I choose love, unconditional love? The choice, again, with the number 2, which I was saying, which is the choice, being illuminated to him is the devil or the divine feminine. And now it's like he can't say that this divine feminine is fake, especially if they've already experienced some form of display of unconditional love here, and she's succeeded. She's graduated whatever she was meant to do with this divine masculine. She is done with flying colors. She's done. She can go do whatever next year. Now, this is why there's a spiritual court here pending in the wings. It's up to him, based on his experience of this divine feminine, which is very pure, of showing this unconditional love, whether he sees through the devil, the ego, or he chooses love and communicates openly, honestly, of what makes him happy. And I do feel it is this divine feminine. But it's like in the past, he'd be going against his ego or this other part of him. Wow. Yeah. Celibacy. Look at this thing. Without commitment. Okay, solitude, virgin, chastity, widower, private, occupation. And remember, we got loneliness here? And it's like, why does he have to be alone? I don't know where it is. This is a big dog's breakfast. Oh my gosh. Because there was nobody here except for them that was able to tap into a great truth. And all of this blue is talking about authentic expression. Same with the sun and Mercury. There's a great truth that needs to be expressed and understood and communicated. And instead of connecting to this person was under one big false guise that I do feel was enacted by this devilly energy, hijacked many, many, many years ago. Who knows how many lifetimes ago. And it's like on my own here, continuing doing what it is that I'm committed to doing, or that I think is like the way of life here. But it is obviously like lonely as hell. And this didn't get anywhere. It was rejecting what love is. And that's obviously the devil. The devil doesn't want unconditional love to be expressed and experienced. The devil wants there to be loneliness, sadness, and all sorts of things here, which I feel is what exactly happened. Oh my goodness. Broken heart. Are we asking about the divine feminine? Yes, we're asking about the divine feminine. Look, without commitment. Oh my goodness, you guys. Broken heart, emotional stress, huge grief, trauma, intense pain, affirmative shock, and deep disappointment. And she felt without. She had to be without. That led to a broken heart. Oh my goodness, you guys. 5, 5, and 2. Delay. 18. The moon. Procrastination. Afterwards, later on, waiting. Patience. Postponed. So this seems to be, again, this energy that I kept talking about, that like Groundhog's Day, you know, where's it going? Where's it going? It's like the big delay. It's on pause. It's been on pause. It hasn't grown to anything. It stayed in seed. What a big delay. She's waiting, or she's like, why is he procrastinating? Is this going to happen? Will it ever happen? Being more patient. All of this energy, which I know you guys are very familiar with, it's like this is coming to an end, because I don't feel like if there is a delay, then there's a delay. For sure, there's a delay. We saw the clock here. Divine timing. I think it is well past time that he made a decision, which I think is why it's going to spiritual court. But I feel like what is over here is her energy, because I feel like she cannot be waiting around here like without commitment, with this broken heart and this huge grief that's been carrying as a burden here. No, especially since she's done her task here. So she needs to be rewarded for doing her task. So is Spirit telling her that there is a delay here in this? Well, there has been a delay, but like that she will find out, you know, again, whether she ends up with this divine masculine, I don't know, but I need something, and I don't know what I need. Sorry, guys, I thought I was prepared, but I need tarot. Maybe this one. I want to see like her lessons, whatever this is, seems to be done. But is Spirit saying that she's going to find out about this sort of decision here? Like, let's close her out first. This delay for the divine feminine. Can we wrap up the energy for the divine feminine in this delay? Is she closing the door? Is she going to find out? Is there going to be an outcome here? Ace of Pentacles. Oh my fuck. What did I tell you guys? It's stuck on Groundhog's Day. I think Spirit is really keeping this completely hush, hush, hush because of, one, the fact that the universe has control. And when the universe has control, it's like we can't push the universe to be, you know, to tell us outside of what the window is. And there is no answer here because it's still going to arbitrary debate here, according to what I'm seeing. You know, it's still where it's sort of sitting. It's sitting in a fucking seat. Okay, so let's go back to the spiritual court then. What is more about the spiritual court that we need to know? The universe intervening here and this divine masculine seeing some greater truth. Anything further we need to know about this sort of judgment or this awakening or the seeing the devil for what it is or the truth of this unconditional love? What do we need to know? What can we know? The Tower in reverse. He's been upkeeping this facade. This twin flame thing, and with the Hierophant is the structure in his world, whatever that thing was, because like I said, it was 3 cups, and 3 cups isn't a bad card. I always kind of read it in that way, but I mean, 3 cups could mean celebrations. It could even be pregnancy. It's our soul family, our network of people, our friends. It's the love and sharing. Okay. But in this reading, I'm really feeling, because we asked about this person's challenge, there was an inability for this person to bond and commit that led to a broken heart, which we know. This person has a belief on a faulty tower that they're upkeeping because they believe something so strongly here. And this tower is needing to come down, and it will come down, but is it like, are they preparing the divine masculine for this tower? Like, it's shift or be shifted, and they're definitely going to be shifted with this tower falling down. What do we need to know then about this tower that's been upkept by this divine masculine? What do we need to know? A 9 of Swords in reverse. So lots of limiting thoughts, lots of anxiety. It even says cruelty here, and it's in reverse. Okay, so what about these anxious thoughts and this cruelty? 9 swords, and then we have the Emperor. Oh my goodness, divine masculine energy, Aries energy. Okay, we're at a point here. This person is either going to step into their divine masculine energy completely and start from, look how colorful this is too, compared to this empty pentacle. You know, it's almost like just an outline. Here's like full and it's growing, even leaves. It's like a real pentacle of something in the 3D, of a real official beginning that can grow. You know, no longer just sort of sitting here in the black and white. It's like, is this going to grow? Is this something official here? The only way to do this is to be in his highest, which is the true Emperor, which is true divine masculine, not this false twin flame energy. But he has to rise again, and rise again and like die unto himself. Oh my goodness. You see death here. His tower needs to fall, and he needs to come out of this 9 sword belief. Okay, what do we need to know then about this this Emperor? Is there anything we need to know about the divine masculine further, about this spiritual court and this justice? Look, spiritual court, you guys. Like, I'm not making this shit up. Something was unjust. They didn't follow in their lover's path. And now it's being dealt with by the universe. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, it got stunted. They didn't move where they were honestly being called. The Page of Wands in reverse didn't move where they were being called. Didn't explore, didn't move in that direction. Things were stunted, and it was highly imbalanced, highly unjust. This karmic lesson is getting ironed out, you guys. Getting ironed out. Whatever's happened between you and this person, you might be wondering, you know, did I carry this pain or this thing? And it's like they're sort of just sitting there. Oh no, this person's going through it like crazy. This is reflected in the 3D world. Their world is falling apart by that 5 swords energy that I said was being like, that's yours. That was being, I don't know where it is, but you know which one I'm talking about. That is being thrusted upon this person in order for this person to see this mask. So what I want to do, because this is fucking messy as fuck, I'm very curious about this false mask thing, although I don't know that I'm even going to be able to interpret whatever I'm seeing, but I'm going to dive into this, and then we're going to get outcome here as best we can. I mean, we tried here, but there's like this delay in this fruit, but she, divine feminine, like she's going to have a new beginning. This is a for sure, you know, whether it's with him or not, I have no fucking idea. It says delay, which would presume that there's just a hang up here, that this needs to be sorted out before the universe decides, is she going to have this or is she going to have something better? Because she's going to get what she wants here, because she's experienced celibacy and heartbreak and loneliness and grief. And this isn't how we repay her back, because this isn't karma. It's not just. There's something she is supposed to be offered and gifted here, but it does depend on this decision. And I don't even feel like it's the decision of the divine masculine. This is the decision of this high spiritual court. In order for this divine masculine to deal with something here that he wasn't seeing, but I also feel it's not his fault, really, because I feel he was hijacked by this devilly energy. And he was just trying to manage and maintain fears. And like, he wasn't seeing the truth clearly. It's been removed from him. Okay, so we're going to dive into this, okay? I'm going to clear this up, and then I'm going to come right back. I'll be right back. Okay, oh my goodness, collective. We're diving into this. What Spirit was telling me, it was really talking about this divine empress here, okay, because we had delay. She definitely has a choice. She does not have to be involved with this divine masculine at all, okay? But there is something very intertwined and destined with the lovers and this spiritual court and this agreement, this karmic arrangement. This needs to iron out before her future is sort of laid out. It doesn't necessarily mean that he is the one that's going to be here and she has to take it, but it does hinder on this. somehow, some way, the change of energy does matter, and I do feel like once this falls, or that tower falls, or this twin flame gets seen through, it changes the course of action completely. Look at this intense change, you guys. Is that the 5 swords? Like, what is this? Okay, let's dive into this a little bit more, because I still feel like it just shocked me that we're seeing it. I'm going to use these first and see, spirits, is there a way we can understand this false twin flame in a way that I'm going to be able to explain it? Because I could feel it feels old, it feels overpowered, but it's like, but I don't know where it's coming from, and I don't know how to explain it. So let's see, spirit, is there any way that we can understand this energy safely, please? That I can explain this energy in a way that the collective will understand what's going on here with this false twin flame, and the divine masculine's understanding of who they are. Universal love. Oh my goodness. 83. Mystical experience. Union with divine love. True self-worth. Self-love. Union of souls. Unconditional love. Profound compassion. Okay. And 2 again, which I was saying was the decision making. But the red again is pulling through that devilly energy. The devil that's been convincing or hijacking this divine masculine in the root chakra. So this is very, very, very rooted in impacting this divine masculine's actions and beliefs. So much so, like the root chakra is where when we are battling addictions and where we feel not safe, we don't feel self-love. It's very challenging here. This person's been battling with this devil for quite some time. Okay, like trying to really connect to self-love here, but beyond the self, there's this union of souls. And we see Jesus here. Oh my goodness. Being responsible, 54 and 9, taking immediate action, realizing your dreams, accepting losses, managing conflicts, welcoming emotions, taking a clear position. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself. And this is also the solar plexus energy. 9 is the hermit energy, also moon. The moon is like the illusion of the ego here in regards to him seeing his truest self and being able to connect to his emotions. Oh my goodness, completely hijacked. But why? Like, why is this false twin flame here? Like, what is this hijacking? What is this? I know it's created this experience for this divine masculine, but why? Should I be asking why? Like, yeah, why? Why is he hijacked here with this universal love to create this universal shift? And oh my God, you guys, to create this universal shift in love, it's like this pivotal moment, I feel, with the spiritual court. It's like the beginning stages, and with everything going on planetary wise, it's like the beginning stages of actual universal love. When we learn to love self, oh my gosh, is coming through. I'm about to cry because it is beautiful here, but wow, it's almost, and that's why Jesus, oh my gosh, getting overwhelmed here. This is really I gotta pause. I'll be right back. Okay, can't guarantee that I'm not going to start crying, but holy my goodness. Seeing Jesus here, what Jesus represents, okay, is definitely the compassion to the nth degree, where we continuously choose compassion for other, even when it goes against wisdom, okay? Because even in the teachings throughout the Bible, it's talking about there's a certain point where you're just unwise, you can't just keep extending foolishly your compassion. So Jesus, right to the end, because in his soul lesson, Jesus's soul lesson, okay, it was to learn what he was supposed to learn about, which was he was kind of like this divine feminine in a way here, because his love was so blind, and love isn't blind. Love chooses the truth. Okay. And so it's not that it was bad. It's just that Jesus's lesson here resulted in his persecutors murdering him. And him, his energy is his divine light, seeing what his lesson was in that lifetime. And he murdered himself. And it was like to create this massive change, so we could follow in the steps of Christ and that experience. And so this is being reproduced in a way with divine masculine energy on a grand scale. It's coming through that the hostaging, okay, now I use the word hostage. I don't know what the right word is here, but it is an overcoming or an over energy of dark shadow, whatever you want to call it, okay? I don't believe in devilly things, but I do believe there's absence of God light when there is an unawareness, okay, an inability to shine the light of love and compassion in areas, and it could become cold and dark. And so there is this ignorance that could contaminate the universe, and it could contaminate humanity, and it could contaminate how we interact with each other. It has to change for the greater good of humanity. And the only way to do this is to practice self-love and love for one another and compassion. But if we don't have self-love, if we don't know how to do this, we can't grow spiritually to love each other universally, collectively, on a whole. And so this is about true self-love, true self-worth. This is why this challenge is so massive to overcome this, because this divine masculine, okay, collectively is overcoming this massive shift so that collectively all divine masculines will eventually, at their own pace, of course, because not everyone is exact in this exact same space in the timeline, but the pioneers of the twin flame journey here of this divine masculine that I'm tapped into is pioneering this opening of collective universal love for all, compassion for all, union with the divine, okay, union with the divine love through self-worth, self-love, unconditional love, and profound compassion, overcoming all of his addictions and his devilly ways, whatever was hijacking his energy, ego, whatever you want to call it, shadow, devil. I'm not playing semantics here. Okay, he believed himself to be not to this divine masculine. He couldn't find it within himself. He couldn't connect to it. It's been removed from him. It was hijacked. So either it was, well, it's always within him, but I feel like it was so hijacked that he couldn't connect to it or see it or believe that that was him at all. And so he had no memory of this divine masculine or how to even be there or that it even is within him. And so being put with the decision of this divine feminine in front of him, he couldn't make that decision or that choice because he couldn't connect and see his truest nature. It's been masked up here. And so this is all about him going through this organically through it, not around it, not bypassing it, and not bits and pieces that are just able to be suppressed. This is going through it so that he could take responsibility and accountability and take action in his world, in the 3D world, as above, so below, so that he can be an example of what it means to show unconditional love and universal love here in the 3D, take immediate action, but only when he goes and experiences this, just like this divine feminine, when she experienced something real, her whole world changed, how she loves, how she communicates, how she acts in the world as a result of her experience. Had she not had a true experience to her, she would have acted in a different way. He is being called to act differently. The only way to act differently is for him to inner experience and integrate certain lessons and experience of understanding of himself truly through the eyes of clarity here, and not through the devilly eyes or through the shadow self, which was hijacked or blinded, to create intense change for the world, for collective, for love and how we see love. Because right now, how we see love is very transactional. Like I always talk about, fear-based love. What can you do for me? If I don't get anything out of this connection or this relationship, then I'm continuously looking for transactional relationships. This is all about, how can I be of service to humanity? How can I be of service to my brother, my sister, and love from this profound place of compassion, just like Jesus did, but not to martyr. There is this true wisdom. And the only way to do this is to really understand one's own emotions and taking this clear position, which means I can see clearly, which is that sun energy we were seeing, and communicate with Mercury and understand clearly. And if we don't see the truth, understand the truth, because the veil is too distorted, how can we take action on the truth? So he's been through all of this because he's being called to see this great truth. And so this is above and beyond just this connection with this divine empress, or his divine feminine. now he's in spiritual court here, and this is being worked out or seen or understood because of his experience. And I feel like she was sort of some sort of pawn here, or some energetic thing that was the guiding light here. I just heard earth angel, she was being guided like an earth angel here to this divine masculine for there to be this thing. I'm like speechless right now. I don't know what else to say here. I feel like one more card, and then we're going to say what a spirit wants to say about this, because I don't know what to say. What do we need to know then about this lesson of swords, or this divine masculine? Distancing, 23 and 5, need for understanding, emotional withdrawal, disassociation. This is what I'm talking about. Fear of intrusion, feeling of emptiness, knowledge dependence. Type 5, the observer, thinking center between interior and exterior. And this is all about authenticity. You guys, there's a dissociation that's creating this inability for this divine masculine to connect, not just to this divine feminine, in period. It's integrated into this person, completely by design like this. There was no choice that this person really had to do different, except for go through this so they could get to the other side, so that they could see something differently. And I do feel like there was an intrusion here, an intrusion specifically designed like this for this whole lesson to unfold. And I feel like Spirit is saying this is what's created this person's emotional withdrawal. This person distancing themselves, this person feeling very empty and alone, because there's something disjointed. They weren't in their energy of who they truly, truly were and are, and couldn't connect to it no matter what. How? I don't know. There's no words. Like, again, how do I put a word to this? And knowledge dependence, because masculine energy is all about knowledge. We saw the Mercury, which is an understanding here. And I feel like there's something about wisdom through not only the heart, which is great, but the little spiel I went on about Jesus and the wisdom, because the wisdom is knowing the truth, and the truth doesn't martyr self, and had Jesus sort of overcome whatever that thing was, it's like standing, and yes, he was truthful, but the thing is that could it have been different, had it gone differently? Had there been a truth spoken? Yes, maybe the impact of Jesus' story may be completely different. But we don't have to martyr ourselves. And so that is heart-based solely. And so great to be in heart, it's great to act out of heart. But when the mind comes into the heart, we're acting out of wisdom and intelligence. And I feel like this divine masculine has the intelligence and the wisdom that's going to be gifted to him if he goes through this sort of thing and sees and gets the other side, which he's in spiritual court right now about. Wow. Okie dokie, we're going to ask for outcome, if we're even going to be seeing an outcome. And then anything else Spirit wants to talk about, okay? Because I know this is getting long, but I do feel like it's needed. So, Spirits, is there an outcome here that we could see about this? Because now we're very concerned about this divine masculine, even if we're not sort of needing anything from him. It's like these divine masculines that are being called to overcome this devilly dance. The Tower in reverse again, you guys. Spirit did show us. It's like they were upkeeping that devilly world, and it was manifesting in the 3D, and it's not true. It's not sustainable. We cannot be in a collective here that's wobbly, that's not sustained on truth and compassion and things that are solid, like love and truth. The tower is built on shaky ground, things that cannot sustain. We cannot sustain a healthy universe with transactional love. It doesn't grow. It's not truthful, and it's not integral. It's not honest. The tower is coming down, you guys, because we can't upkeep this tower. And I don't know that there's necessarily like a how, but it's coming down, because towers, as you know, it does come down. It's not going to stay there. Any storm, any universal thing that happens, which we did see the wheel. So the universe is interjecting here to knock over this tower. Oh my goodness, this is very heavy. 8 of Cups, walking away from what doesn't serve and what's not emotionally fulfilling. And then we have the Seven of Swords in reverse to see their clear identity, because they've been, like I said, like disassociated from who they are. The false twin flame, there was a lie that they were upkeeping of who they are, and it's emotionally unsustainable here. The only way is to see through this and be honest and truthful. And they're being guided. They are being guided. But again, the universe doesn't make these decisions for us, but we have to see beyond our own illusion and choose and see. And I think this experience has given them the opportunity to make this choice in this site. And that's why I said the two, there's a choice here, but it's still their choice. Do you want to sit in this 8 cups energy, which is emotionally not truthful, or do you want to walk in truth, despite there being fears of the unknown and what's on this other side and this tower falling? That's their choice. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Page of Wands. So this is all about exploring, being in this youthful energy. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. This person has to deal with their world that is unsustainable. It's crumbling here in order to have this new energy about them. Okay. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's being revealed to them. That's all we know. Okay. It's all we know. And we know that truth prevails. And that the devil isn't real, because what the devil really is just an absence of God. And God is truth and love. So if God is truth and love, and God is omnipresent, that means God is in everything and everyone. And so if there's any shadows cast, God is within. And so there's this truth that's coming to the surface that cannot be denied or suppressed here, but it's up to this divine masculine to actually physically take action in the 3D, because this is all 3D based when we, it's 5D in the spiritual court, but in order to make moves and action, it has to be actioned in the 3D, taking immediate action in the 3D. Solar plexus energy, root chakra energy, blue, expression. Okay, speaking our truth, walking and talking our truth in line with truth and authenticity. So, what does Spirit want to say to us? Wow. Spirits, can we close out this reading? Am I missing something here? Don't throw me a big bomb, please. Just, what do we need to know? Whatever we need to know right here, right now, Spirits, please help me to communicate whatever this is. My goodness, that was really emotional. You guys, how many fucking times am I going to see this tower in reverse? 10 of Cups that just spun around. 10 of Cups. So ultimate emotional fulfillment. This tower needs to fall in order for this whole collective to reach a state of emotional fulfillment. Otherwise, it's very transactional and fake. That's what the Spirit's talking about. It's all pending on the falling of the false self, the false story, the false beliefs, the ego self, the identity we create to protect ourselves, this devilly thing, and all of the shadow and pain that's created. This needs to fall away. And then collectively, we can actually experience unconditional love, unfiltered here, to the nth degree, which I feel like maybe it has not been a thing for a long time, or at least there's not many relationships or people who can experience unconditional love, because they haven't gone through this whole thing of understanding what unconditional love even looks like. And this isn't even talking about like intimate sexual love so much as it is love for humanity, unconditional love for other. Phoenix rising, you guys, again, and death and rebirth. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. I can't even with this reading. You guys. I don't know. Is it just me? But what is this? This is like a massive spiritual transformation. I feel collectively we're being reborn. Collectively, love is being reborn here to the collective. But there's a new version of how to love, how to connect to love. But we must transcend what isn't true. Fear and ego and shadow, okay? And anything that's not in line with truth, it is getting transmuted through this experience. This is what this was for. This is happening, okay? There will be a rise of the collective. There will be a rise of love again. There will be a rise of unconditional love. Now, whether you're going to experience this person, I don't know, It was all for a greater collective here. And so all of these stories, even this tarot reading, everything you've experienced, it's like a hand-me-down of a story of something we've experienced. And every generation, it sort of changes and evolves and gets better, And then who knows, 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 300 years from now, it's like all of these stories built up to the culture of who we became, and who we become are these beautiful light beings that are capable of divine love, unconditional love for humanity without suffering and pain and being pulled into egos and shadows and untruths. No, not no more. And you guys are a part of this, and so is this person. Okay, this person, despite being a little unruly and us wanting to, call them stubborn all day long, or that it was up to them to see something. No, it wasn't. No, they were implanted with some sort of inability to see for a very good reason for them to do this honor of God, this honor of God, really, at the end of the day. And same with this divine empress, which I feel I'm reading for divine feminine energy. It's an honor of God because she was used to guide this divine masculine. All right, this turned into a very deep, spiritual, collective twin flame reading, which is what it was supposed to be about, but I didn't even foresee that it was going to get into this whole thing. So if you made it to the ending, bless you. I pray for you. I pray for your journey. I pray for your challenge. I pray for the divine masculine energy here and all of the healing of the divine feminine. I love you guys so much. You guys are so welcome here, and I appreciate you guys being here. I love hearing about your journeys. If you guys are interested in a twin flame reading, please visit my website, because I do have that offering, and I do have a 25% off discount that will run now until the end of August if you are interested in knowing where you're at specifically with your twin. Okay, so beautiful angel, this is your reading. I love you guys so much, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.